You know, when you're reading an ancient text and you hit a genealogy, your eyes probably start to glaze over, right? It's just a long list of names. But today, we're going to look at the last three verses of Genesis 11. It looks like just another family record, but it's actually one of the most brilliant cliffhangers ever written. It's designed to build this incredible tension and set the stage for a story that will literally change the world. And this quote just nails it. The story's been cruising along. You have this steady rhythm of he fathered this person who fathered that person, passing the baton of history down the line. And then all of a sudden, the author just slams on the brakes. Everything comes to a screeching halt. So, we're at this really crucial hinge point in the story. Genesis is about to zoom in from this huge universal history to focus on just one guy, Abram, and his family. But before his story can even get started, the narrative basically builds a giant wall. And it does this by giving us not one, not two, but three separate dead ends. All right, so the first roadblock, and this is a big one, is biological. For a story that has been all about lineage, about descendants, about who comes next, the author throws in an immediate and, frankly, impossible-sounding problem. This one little verse is everything. It's short, it's blunt, and it's devastating. But believe it or not, the original Hebrew text actually drives this point home with even more force than what you see in the English translation. So let's look at the original Hebrew for a second. First, it says she was barren. Simple enough. But then it immediately adds another phrase. There was no child for her. Now, you got to understand, in a really concise language like Biblical Hebrew, you don't just repeat yourself for fun. Every word counts. This doubling is deliberate. It's like the author's taking a big red marker and underlining the problem twice just to make sure you get it. So this isn't just about a personal tragedy. The author is signaling that this is a theological roadblock. The entire flow of history, this whole chain of begats, has just slammed into a brick wall. What the text is basically screaming at us is, hey, pay attention. For this story to move forward at all, God is going to have to step in. There's no other way. And just to twist the knife a little, look at their names. Abram means exalted father. Sarai means princess. I mean, the irony is just so thick you could cut it with a knife. An exalted father who's not a father? A princess who has no heir to carry on a royal line? Their very names are a direct contradiction to their reality. So that's dead end number one. The second one builds on it just perfectly. As if the biological problem wasn't enough, the family's physical journey starts to look a lot like their family tree. It stalls out, it loses all forward momentum. Okay, so the text lays out this big plan. The intention, head to the land of Canaan. The action, they pack up, they leave their home on earth, they're on the move. And then reality hits. They make it part way to a place called Haran. And they just stop. They settle there. The mission is left unfinished. And the language itself captures this collapse in a single Hebrew phrase, Vayeshavu sham. It means, and they settled there. All those exciting verbs of movement and purpose just evaporate. They fizzle out into this one word of stagnation. A journey that was supposed to create a new destiny is now just on indefinite hold. And that brings us to the third and final roadblock. And this one, well, this one's the nail in the coffin. It seals the family's stalled state with the most final act of all. Death. The chapter ends with this incredibly stark, blunt statement. The Hebrew is just wayamot terach. There's no ceremony, no eulogy. It's just a cold, hard fact. Terah, the patriarch, the man who led them out of Ur, he dies. And where does he die? Not in the Promised Land. He dies in Haran, the very place where they got stuck. His death is the final note of this genealogy, and that note is silence. The leader is gone. The family is stranded in a foreign land. The mission is abandoned. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the story has ended in total failure. So, when you put all three of these pieces together, you start to see just how smart this writing really is. The author has created this narrative vacuum, a state of complete and utter suspense, by systematically closing off every single possible path forward. It really is a perfect storm of problems, isn't it? You have the biological dead end, you have the geographical dead end, and then you have the final dead end of death itself. Every single door for this family has been slammed shut and locked. It's like that baton of history we talked about, the one being passed down through the generations. It's just been dropped. Clink. It's lying there in the dust, in a foreign land, right next to a grieving family with an empty womb and absolutely no future. And you, the reader, you're just left there hanging. And that is precisely the question the text wants you to ask. By creating such a hopeless situation, the author has created the perfect setup. The story ends right here, on this note of impossibility, leaving you on the edge of your seat, wondering, what now? How could this possibly be resolved? And that masterful cliffhanger is what makes the opening of the very next chapter, when God calls to Abram, so incredibly powerful. It's a promise that isn't just for a family, but for a whole new beginning to a story that seemed like it had already met its end.